Hello there again. It's Rachel Palmieri, Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And I have been playing around, just experimenting this week. It was a lot of fun too. I saw that Swirly Frames was carrying over in the catalogue, and I knew that I'd had it in my stash for at least a year. I think it's only been out the year, and I haven't really used it, maybe once. So I thought that it was time I gave it a go, and for ages I had just a piece of white cardstock with this grey circle stamped on it. And eventually yesterday it came to me what I would do with it. And so I've done a very simple wreath that you don't need any special skills to do. And I thought that I would start by repeating this one for you today. It also used the new stamp set that is coming out called Tasteful Touches. Tasteful Touches is a gorgeous set. There's dies that can be bundled with the stamp set, which I'm using constantly at the moment. And the paper is a pack of 40, I think it is. And there's 2 each of each page, so there's a huge variety in there, and they're photo images of fabric or tiles and timber and all sorts of texture like that. Very, very usable, and of course we've got a full 12 months to use them on our cards, so I think that it's a really good buy. But anyway, this stamp and this come from that particular set, and I used a little sprig from Bloom and Grow, another stamp set which we've had for at least a year, and we are going to see another 12 months of it, thank goodness. Now these might already be retired, I'm not sure, but you know, everyone has some sequins or buttons or something in their stash that they could use. And look, rhinestones would do just as nicely. So I'll make a start by taking a piece of white card that is 9.5 centimetres by 13.5 centimetres. That is going to allow for it to be mounted on a coloured mat and then onto the card with space around. Okay, so I have the stamp mounted up, and I used Smoky Slate. I like Smoky Slate because it's a nice light shade. I hope to goodness. Now, where's my mat? Just eyeballing it to sort of get it towards the top and central. Actually, I might do this step while I have the grey open. Now, you could easily do this by hand, but I was experimenting with my Stamparatus and found that it wasn't. Oh, I haven't got it set up for this particular card. Hang on. But that's it. Okay. just so you can see what the Stamparatus does as well. Now I move it along one hinge spot. And this is an ideal stamp to do this with because it's quite a little random pattern. 2 hinge spots that time, so but I could easily fix that. I could see that I'd gone wrong. There we are. Shall I do the sentiment while I'm here? There we go. And I'll pop the grey away. I'll try to pop the grey away. There we go. All right. Now, I'll move the Stamparatus as well because I really don't need it. Because all I do is pick a point and rotate from there, using the circle as a guide. Wasn't too hard, was it? I'm going to use the brush end and do a lazy colouring. Now here, I just went along and did a few here and there. No rhyme or reason to it. Now see, I've made a little splatter there which is going to get covered. I think I'll go rhinestones this time. Hopefully I can find some. We'll go with a big one over that. Whoops, I nearly didn't put it over. Bring it down a little bit. There we are. And put that size next to it. Come on, go back. I think these things are deciding on their own position. I've gone nuts, but you know what? Who doesn't like a rhinestone? Okay. Hopefully I've got time. I think I have to do a second card for you today. I've sort of planned that I will. Okay, so we have the two of those. Do you like the sequins or the rhinestones? I like them both actually. All right. So I showed you this one, which I'm going to send off to a lovely friend. And then I realised that I have a lot of sons with birthdays coming up. One in June, one in July, one in September, one in October. And I don't know what I'm going to do for them this year, although I guess one of the stamp sets from the new catalogue might help out, but it's difficult because there's nothing that really suits their interests at the moment. So you might have noticed with this one I sort of just overlap the circles. This time I'm going to do it with this square frame. I started in the middle and you want enough overlapping and then sometimes you don't, if you get my drift. Almost like I forgot to do that side. Because it's only the bits that actually cross over that get coloured in. I experimented earlier and I did a lot more colouring in and it just was plain messy, and I threw that one in the bin. Okay, so we have an all over pattern here. A bit frightened to go back and do that, but Alright. This is the one that gave me trouble before, isn't it? It hasn't been loosened up enough yet. Alright, so I've got some Stampin' Blends over here. I sort of picked out the blues and the greeny shades. This one's light shaded spruce. For the feminine card, I used Saffron was the dark one. I think it was light flirty flamingo, or it might have been dark. Pool Party was the dark one, and a little bit of mint macaron in there as well. But the flowers only were stamped in 3 colours. I don't worry about trying to shade or anything when I'm colouring in these shapes. I'm just basically trying to get an even coverage. I might start with a couple of each and then see how we go. Oops, wrong end. These round tips are quite difficult to get into the corners nicely, but it can be done. Oh, this was dark granny apple green. I don't think I mentioned the colour. So obviously I'm not going to stamp flowers on a masculine card. And I haven't left very much space in there anyway. Light Pretty Peacock. That's an in colour that has another year to run. It's beautiful too. I find it very usable. I'm sorry I haven't got much to say. I haven't been going anywhere, and I just don't feel like I have much to comment on at the moment. Isn't that awful? Still haven't seen my grandchildren. when we thought we were going to. Their dad was unwell and had to be tested for COVID-19, but fortunately got a negative result on that. I think we were all very thankful. Now I've ended up with one over here, and whatever colour I do, it's going to be next to something similar. So I'll go with the light shaded spruce. Actually, I haven't ended up with many overlapped on this one. Maybe I need to go back in and do some more. I could do that. This is Dark Mango Melody. I love this colour too. It's so vividly bright and kind of verging on orange through to yellow. I love when you stamp it too, because it seems to get a nice variation in the shade. Some people might think that was a fault, that it wasn't stamping evenly, but I just love having a little bit of the orange floating up. Right, I'll do some more Granny Apple Green up the top. Wonder how we're going. I'm trying to think how I'll do the label for this one too. right. Reasonably satisfied with that. I'm going to pop it onto this, but if you'll bear with me, I'll pop this through the Tasteful Textile embossing folder, which is part of that Tasteful Touches suite, and show you the result when I come back. This is one that you put through with the blue plate. We do have our new machine coming. I haven't got one at the moment because they're not available. Neither were the in colours in inks. All we could get was the card and the ribbon. And that's due to production being slightly down due to COVID-19. They have to run a couple of separate shifts to ink the ink pads and that sort of job that they do, to keep people separate, and there has to be cleaning between shifts and all the rest of it because they're made in America and at the plant that Stampin' Up have. They don't make the dies, they make the stamps, and the ink pads are inked up. I'm not sure about the mould for the ink pad. I would imagine it's made overseas somewhere, but I'm not sure. Oop. Okay. Now, can you see the weave on that? It almost starts to look like watercolour paper, but they're quite different. I'm going to I'll do Happy Birthday. I actually haven't searched out anything like sun or whatever, and it'll be too noisy if I go off and start doing that. But what I might do is pop that there. So the embossing buddy has been retired. We've still got some in stock in Australia as far as I know. But after this you'll have to make your own little sack with talcum powder inside it. So if you can't be bothered doing that, you might want to get one of those onto your order, because it removes the static from the card so that you don't have all those excess spots of embossing powder sticking to your oily finger marks and things like that. And that's the magic happened. I was just thinking if I did that, I would have room for a sun underneath. I'll just centre it. Maybe just centre it. Because in the meantime I might come up with other ideas. I'll be back in a tick. June's birthday is actually a 30th, so I probably need to get the numbers that are coming. We weren't able to pre-order those either, but I need to maybe do a 30 card dimensionals. And maybe I should have decided before I put whether it's in. No, it can't go in the centre, it covers up too much. What about up there? Still covers a few. There we are. I'm going with that. So, what did we do? We made that one. And that was the feminine version with the stamps from Lovely You, the flower stamp and the beautiful text. And so until next week, hope you have a good week. Bye.